This Saturday, Gervonta Davis will step up to 140 pounds to take on WBA regular light welterweight champion Mario Barrios. To take a trip down memory lane, the first time I saw Gervonta Davis was back in December 2015, and that was when he scored a 9th round KO over Luis Sanchez. And despite the big one-punch finish, at the time I wasn't particularly impressed by Davis. Yes, he had an abundance of power and speed, agility and coordination, but he didn't display the greatest IQ and ability to set up his shots. He was often relying on single pot shots and occasionally mixing in some variation of a 1-2. I next saw Davis about 5 months later when he took on Guillermo Avila, where he stopped Avila with a vicious barrage of left uppercuts. Terrific accuracy, power, speed, bloodied Avila's nose. It was brutal. And the stoppage was equally as impressive as the last. But the way Davis got to that stoppage is what got me genuinely excited about him. In that fight, he displayed a marked improvement of his shot setup, but also shot selection. His guard was more proactive and dynamic, and the patience and the ring IQ that he showed was that of a much more experienced fighter. And to me, it was clear that he was well on his way to becoming a formidable fighter. But 5 years later, 2021, I found myself wanting when I'm watching Gervonta Davis. My current impression of him, it closely resembles the impression I had on my first viewing, the first time I saw him fight. And I see in this current form of Davis a fighter who largely neglects the skills that he does have. And he just has this lazy style, and he relies on his athleticism and brute force. There are still some flashes of brilliance that you see in some of Davis's fights, but for my money, they're just too few and far between for him to depend on. Barrios, on the other hand, Davis's opponent, I am less familiar with. The only fight of his that I've seen is his unanimous decision win that he had over Batir Akhmedov. From what I've seen, from what I've observed, Barrios is a competent fighter. Of course, he's much bigger than Gervonta Davis. A competent fighter, but one who has no standout skills or ability. He doesn't come across as a particularly gifted fighter in terms of skill or athleticism, offense or defense, whatever, none of it. This fight is being sold as a test for Davis, as it's another weight class that he steps up to, of course, being 140 pounds. It's admirable. It's an admirable feat, of course, but a potential win over Barrios is made slightly less impressive when you consider that Barrios himself, despite the clear height advantage and probably reach advantage he has over Davis, well, I say probably, he almost certainly has a reach advantage over Davis. He himself, Barrios, started his career at 122 pounds. Davis started his at 125/126 pounds. Barrios has only been fighting at 140 pounds for the past 4 years. Don't get me wrong, that 4 years of familiarity at 140 is 4 years that Davis does not have. But seeing as Barrios hasn't fought anyone of note at 140 pounds, other than top 30 contender Akhmedov, I think he's in for a nasty surprise come Saturday night. To break the fight down, I actually anticipate the fight following a similar pattern to Davis's last fight against Leo Santa Cruz. I can see Davis being outworked, outmaneuvered at long range, but as the rounds go by, he gradually gets closer to Barrios with the single powerful pot shots that he likes to rely on. Specifically, I think it will be the right hook of Davis from the southpaw stance that catches Barrios, because Barrios seems to have a habit of pivoting on his lead left leg from the southpaw stance, for the orthodox stance, excuse me. And I think that will be the shot that ends the fight Probably in rounds 6 to 8, that kind of range. The mid rounds, yeah, round 6 to 8. Barrios to me is a tall fighter, but he doesn't fight tall. He doesn't maximize his stature and his reach. And I believe that even though Davis has a bit of a lazy style, as I said, he seems to have let go, or he doesn't fight in a very proactive manner. Looking back at the Leo Santa Cruz fight, he was trying so many attempts at that left uppercut, and he wasn't really setting it up. He was just kind of trying to grit his way through the smaller man's straight shots at long range, get himself into position, and just whip the shot and kind of spray and pray, hope that it lands. Eventually it did land, and of course when it does land, Davis does have genuine power and he can knock out a lot of people. Of course Leo Santa Cruz was a lot smaller, but I don't think Barrios is going to be able to take the power that well either, especially if he's getting hit regularly, which I do anticipate happening. I just don't think he has the positional awareness. From what I saw of Barrios in that Akhmadov fight, he just has this bad habit of pivoting on the front foot, leaving himself exposed and essentially moving while in the trajectory of a potential right hook from a southpaw. Davis, of course, has a pretty good right hook. He's taken plenty of people out of it. So that's my prediction for the fight. Davis catching Barrios, probably with a right hook between rounds 6 and 8, ending the fight. Probably quite brutally, I'll say that. Just as an aside to kind of close this video out, it seems clear to me what Davis's management are doing. They seem to be reusing the Mayweather formula of collecting wins and accolades at achievements that, when you look at them on paper, look great. But when you scratch beneath the surface and you look a bit closer, you see that it's against an opponent that isn't exactly elite and less than stellar. Don't get me wrong, good wins and solid wins, but not the career-defining wins that are going to really set you apart from the rest of the competition and make you the man in your division. Maybe Davis and his team prove me wrong and they get through Barrios, which isn't a done deal. He does actually have to get in there and beat Barrios. But maybe Davis and his team, they get through this fight and then they go straight in against a Josh Taylor or a Regis Prograis. And this is just the tune-up fight at 140. But in the current state of affairs, that hasn't happened. And until then, Davis, let's be honest, he's yet to score a big win over a truly elite fighter. You know, a career-defining win. Yeah, he's held world titles in different weight classes, but you want to see more in terms of performance, but also a resume as well. So that's my take on this fight. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for listening, guys, and I'll catch you on the next video.